I can't look at the Wrangler and review it like a normal car. It's just a big toy. It's very expensive now. This one's over $70,000. But for so many years, going back to 1941, the Jeep has been a true American icon. That's not an overstatement, that's just what this vehicle is. The first vehicle I'm driving in 2023 is a Wrangler 4xe. This is the plug-in hybrid. It's now available on the Grand Cherokee, but it debuted on the Wrangler for 2021. I tested it, 2 years ago. Now I'm here in the winter, and I'm testing the 22-mile EPA-rated electric range, 49 mpge, and all the great and terrible things about driving a Wrangler on the road. But we're gonna go off-road with this thing too, because that's where it's really meant to be. This is the Rubicon, if you couldn't tell, spelled right there. So let's have some fun today. If you want to sell your car today, you can do it at CarGurus. Type in a few details about your car. Dealers will contact you with offers, and if you like the price, they pick it up and they pay you. The electric blue colors you see on the tow hooks and the hood, that means it's the 4xe. Otherwise, you cannot tell this is any different from a regular gas or even diesel-powered Wrangler. But under the hood, it's pretty complex. It's a 2-liter turbo 4, which you can get on the sport model, but this one has an electric motor that replaces the alternator and the starter motor, plus another bigger electric motor that's sandwiched between the 4-cylinder engine and the 8-speed automatic transmission. Now, all of the 4-wheel drive hardware that you know and love on the Rubicon, from the Dana 44 front and rear locking axles, everything is exactly the same. So off-road, it performs exactly as you'd expect. There's a lot of ways to spec a Wrangler. For example, this one does not have the steel bumpers, just plastic, but it does have a front bidet system on this camera right here, which is very, very helpful when you're traveling in dirt. New for 2023, there's now an American flag decal on the front fenders. On both of them, there's 2 new paint colors, and there's new wheel designs for every Rubicon. The front charging port, it only takes 2 hours on a 240-volt connection, or up to about 12 hours on 120. As rudimentary as this truck is, the back tailgate is made out of magnesium, very lightweight, and all the doors and even the hood are made of aluminum. So that's kind of high tech. And I also like how the backup camera is right in the center of the spare tire here. Not even Mercedes does that with the G-Wagon. So the views you get back here are pretty clear. Now this is freedom. Freedom to electrically roll back your Jeep for a cost of just over $4,000 without having to remove a soft top. It's the Sky One Touch. Convertible season can be stretched if you have the right materials, namely heated leather seats, a heated wheel, and a really good heater. But this is my first time actually trying this roof configuration, because I've had hard tops, I've had the Freedom top where you can take off the 2 front panels. That's all well and good. But man, this electric top, this is where it's at. It really is. Jeep continues to offer a half dozen powertrains in the Wrangler. You get a 2-liter turbo 4, a 2-liter turbo 4 with the electric motors. That's this plug-in hybrid. A 3.6-liter V6, the same V6 as a mild hybrid, a 48-volt system. There's the 3-liter turbo diesel 6. And then there's the giant 6.4-liter V8. Now at CarGurus, we've tested basically every powertrain except the base turbo 2-liter 4. Check out all those videos, because if there's a Wrangler, we've had a review on it. So today I'm gonna go a little slower than the last time I was driving a Jeep Wrangler, because, well, we're definitely down on power. Not on torque. 470 pound-feet of torque is total. That matches the 392. And combined, it's also 375 horsepower. Those are pretty healthy figures. Now, there's a lot of electric torque coming from the motor, right? That's the one that's sandwiched between the engine and the transmission. That's providing the grunt of all the acceleration. There's also an additional electric motor on the engine that basically takes the place of the alternator and the starter motor. So, that's a very, very complex system. But what's very helpful is that it doesn't drive like it's some science project. There's some plug-in hybrids that really kind of clunk around. They're not really calibrated right. This one, whether you're fully charged or you're not, it drives the same. Now, because I'm living in a house that has some bad electrical connections, I couldn't actually charge the Wrangler before I came here to shoot. And that's okay, because even with less than 1% of the total battery, and it's about 17 kilowatt hours in total, I can still run on just the electric motor. Right now, the engine is off. I'm doing about 30 miles an hour. It's a great system. So it will act like a normal gas-electric hybrid. And then when you plug it in the cold weather, it will run over 20 miles on just the battery. And that is a really great system, because when you want to have a plug-in hybrid, the whole point of it is that the engine is never turning on, unless, of course, you actually need it during full throttle acceleration. Now, of course, once you pick up speed, Wrangler gets pretty loud, and even with the top up, it's pretty loud. I don't understand how people drive these things every day or even try commuting in them. God help you, especially with the Rubicon, because when you go to highway speeds, you can turn the wheel like this and the wheels don't turn. Just so much slop in the steering, and the tires are so noisy. It's a brick going through the wind. That's just how it is, right? I've driven Sahara Wranglers, and they are so much better on the street, and they're still pretty good off-road. So I liken the Rubicon to kind of like the BMW M3, right? It's like a totally different vehicle. All the suspension geometry, the tires, the shocks, everything completely retuned, and frankly, probably too extreme for most purposes. The great thing about this top is that it still works up to 60 miles an hour. It's a lot quieter, but quiet is kind of relative in the Wrangler, because even with everything sealed, it's so much louder than your average SUV. Very loud. Now, it may be 2023, but in a Wrangler, you've got to drive like it's 1983, because the body roll and the grip are from another era that frankly doesn't exist on most modern vehicles, aside from the Mercedes G-Wagon. That's it. But the brakes on any Wrangler, including the plug-in, feel pretty good. Now, there's a max regen button that you can press right here in the dash. That will give you some pretty good deceleration and regen effect. Press it now. It's not as strong as in other PHEVs or even EVs that let you basically have one pedal driving. It's not meant to do that, but it's pretty strong. So I like to keep it on because it's really not very intrusive. So despite all these caveats on road, Wrangler is still a fun vehicle. It really is. You learn to live with the limitations because this is a specialized piece of hardware. There's really not much else like it, and that's why about 150,000 people every year want one. Really, these vehicles are just like Porsches. The demand is always outstripping the supply. So on the used market, this vehicle, which is just over 70 grand, it'll probably cost 70 grand in another 2 years. So it's a fantastic investment. And every time I drive one of these, I have fun. It really does put a smile on my face. It does. See? Fuel economy, EPA combined, is 20 mpg and 49 mpg-E when you're running in electric-only mode. Those aren't great. This vehicle is also a four-wheel drive off-road crazy truck. So it's designed to do things that your Kia Sportage plug-in hybrids and all the other conventional vehicles out there cannot do. So hats off to Jeep for creating something that you can still use like a regular Wrangler, and if you have it plugged in, save gas. However, if you don't have a system at home where you're always plugging it in or going to work and able to charge, you're lugging around all this extra weight for no reason. It doesn't make sense. So for that, I would say go diesel, because you're definitely getting better fuel economy on the highway, or even the regular V6. It certainly doesn't pull as strong as this plug-in hybrid. And of course the V8, well, you're getting probably 10 miles to the gallon in that truck. So there's a lot of different options, but for pure fuel efficiency, it's either the V6 or the diesel. This is really where any Wrangler belongs. So when you buy a Rubicon, what do you get? You get all the upgraded axles. Basically everything has been re-engineered. The steering knuckles, the suspension, 11 inches of clearance. From the factory, There's hardly any new vehicles that are this capable. It's amazing. And remember, this is factory warranty stuff. I've said this before when I'm driving the Wrangler. Anybody can mod a truck all they want. But when the factory is actually backing it with warranty and maintenance, all that stuff, you gotta love it, because you just leave the showroom and you can just drive wherever the hell you want. What's nice about the 4xe is that with a charged battery, it works exactly the same. It doesn't matter if you're in 2 high, 4 low, if the axles are locked or not. You'd be hard pressed to notice that this was driving any differently, and that is the whole point. So this plug-in hybrid system does not compromise the way this vehicle runs, which is fantastic. What's funny is like how like deep this looks, but it's not. Definitely deeper. Definitely deeper in the water today. It's no sweat though for it. Knocks you around a bit. That was fun, right? Do a little swimming. Now, there's a lot of SUVs out there with fancy electronics like crawl control and trail control, all these things that are supposed to help manage the torque for you and brake for you. In the Wrangler, it's essentially pop it into 4 low, let all the torque in the gearing help slow you down and pull you out. And it's just really good old-fashioned ground clearance. 11 inches on this thing. Oh man, it's just so much fun. And you just keep driving. Another common thing I like to say about Jeep Wranglers, it's nice and narrow. So unlike a Ford Bronco or other larger pickup trucks that you might be able to take off-road, this one fits in places. And that's really a big deal because, well, a lot of times trails are narrow. And the Wrangler is very old school in that way. That's why the Army loved it. You could go anywhere. And the point being is anywhere truly means anywhere. Really, this is like a sports car for off-roading. It really is. Everything that doesn't work on the road is exceptional when you're off. The Wrangler is an old friend. Everything is right where you'd expect it to be. It's utilitarian. The materials are actually pretty good. The fit, not so much. The 4xe comes with blue trimmings, but this one has the upgraded leather seats. I really like how these tan seats go against the silver and the blue on the outside. This is probably the classiest Wrangler I've been in some time. Everything else you see is just as it was before, which means, well, basic controls, knobs, switches, window switches right in the center, and of course all of the off-road features right at hand. Now there's a lot of different technology here. I'll show you this 8.4-inch screen in a second, but just know that there's no standard driver assistance, not even forward emergency braking. That's an option. And right here, there's no head curtain airbags, none. On the 4xe, the rear seats have the battery underneath, so there's slightly less room than in normal Wranglers. But when you sit down here, nothing really is that different. The Wrangler uses an older version of Uconnect, but fear not, it works really well. It's fast, it's super legible, it's one of the best systems around for a long time. And if you get the 4xe, you get an e-hybrid screen that shows you the power flow, and it especially has this feature, e-save. Now it lets you choose between battery saving and battery charging. So if you want to preserve your battery at the current level, you hit save. If you want to use the gas engine to charge it further, you hit battery charge. Nice that there's a feature like that. The 4xe does not have an analog speedometer, but it has a power gauge and a charge meter in its place. The central screen has more options, especially for the plug-in hybrid. You can see more fuel economy, your range. A lot of this is viewable on the main 8.4-inch screen, but it's nice to see it here too. The 2023 Jeep Wrangler starts at $31,195, but not the 4xe. That's $54,735 to start. Mine, with options and destination, was $72,470. This is some serious money, but there's also nothing seriously like it. It's the only PHEV with front and rear locking differentials. And where are you gonna get all of this off-road performance with all of the classic styling and performance of a regular Jeep? Nowhere. What I like most about the Wrangler 4xe is that it's a best of all worlds approach. You get electrification, but you don't lose out on the best gas performance that made the Wrangler an icon for decades, for generations. That's what this vehicle is. It's all about choice. And you don't have to just get the 4xe. You can get a diesel, a Hemi V8, or just a 2-liter 4 or the regular V6. It's all about choice, and Jeep owners like to have fun. So what can you say? Not everybody's gonna love it, but I do every single time I get into it. So go to CarGurus.com for more. We've got plenty more reviews coming up. And if you want to see Jeeps, well, we got that too. So subscribe to the YouTube channel, and we'll see you next time.